up, we will start the implementation. Now, to curb the dry spell, we cannot affect the weather, but we can plan our food systems to ensure that if there is El Nino or there's a drought or there's a dry spell as we experience this year, we'll be able to survive it. Is why for more irrigation schemes. If you listen to my presentation, I did say that we should as a country commit about 3 billion Ghana cedis in irrigation schemes, at least start them. Since I've been at the ministry, I've started major irrigation programs, especially in our grain belts. Idra, we've started an irrigation schemes. Kumewu, we've started an irrigation scheme there. Central Afram Plains through to Kwewu Afram Plains, we've started major irrigation schemes there. Hinase, Kwewu, we've started an irrigation schemes there. All these are lowlands by the Afram River that we believe that we can tap into the very clean Afram River, take the water to the lowlands and create major schemes for our grain growing areas. We have at least started these major irrigation interventions, and we believe that every year, if we can commit about 3 billion cedis minimum, this is not factoring the outliers, for example, like Pwalugu, where you need hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm talking about at least the kind of irrigation schemes that we know here in Ghana, like the Via, Tamni, Tono, Botanga, those kinds of schemes. If we're able to commit about 3 billion year by year, we will be able to crop and avoid the effects of dry spell, El Nino, or drought. 8 billion. What have you received so far? 3 billion, of which we received 2 billion from GOG directly. A majority came from the Ministry of Agri's own budget. So our budget for the year, a lot of our programs that we plan to run for this year, we had to cut it and then put the funds into supporting the farmers. So we are out dry and gasping for air. But farmers at this point, it's the same farmers that we seek to support. And so a majority of the funds came from my budget. 1 billion cedis of the Ministry of Agri's budget is gone. We went to Parliament and got 500 million Ghana cedis from the contingency fund. And then the Ministry of Roads also suffered 500 million Ghana cedis. So we got 2 billion from GOG, and then we got $100 million from the World Bank, of which 85 million went to inputs, and then 20 million into cash transfer. So 105 million from the World Bank. So put together, it's about 3.6 billion Ghana cedis, depending on the exchange rate, and that is being used. So at 16, let's say we've received 3.6 billion of the 8 billion that we required. Now the 8 billion that we required was based on getting food ration for 4 months. We projected to give food ration for 4 months. With what we have started with, it will be able to support for 2 months. Okay, we will be able to support for 2 months. But if you put together the total quantum of support that a farmer is getting, you're getting 1,000 Ghana cedis cash transfer. A bag of fertilizer is about 400 Ghana cedis. You are getting 3 bags of that. That is 1,200. That's what we are talking about 2,200 Ghana cedis here. You're getting a 25 kg bag of rice. That in itself is about 400 Ghana cedis, so it comes to 2,600. 100 kg bag of rice, I did mention, farm gate in itself is about 600 Ghana cedis. So we are talking about north of 3,000 Ghana cedis per farmer, 30 million. And not to talk about the seeds that the farmer is going to get. So every farmer is getting about 30 million old Ghana cedis, or 3,000 new cedis. Commercial farmers are getting more, getting about 50 bags of NPK, 25 bags of urea. Now, Statistical Service says that prices of food is going up. In Ghana. Hey, it appears you have your own food inflation, because the ones that we have, food inflation is going down. Food inflation is going down. If you can just look it up, the food inflation for last month.
Last month was 19.1.
Yeah.
Down from
21.5, which is in July. August is 19. So food inflation is going up. But even beyond the inflation, when you go to the market, I don't have to tell you the price of food is going down. Do you understand? You say you go to the market with your wife and somebody else, then I can understand that there may be some transmittal additions here and there. But if you go yourself, you will see that the price of food, and this is not something that it's not just a factor of seasonality. Some planning has gone into it. It is not. So you realize that in Ghana, when we have tomato on the market, onion is not there. When the price of onion is down, the price of tomatoes is up. Is that not the case? This time, you see that there's tomato and there's onion. But I'm saying, listen to me. The seasonality, when there's onion, there's no tomato. When there's tomato, there's no onion. But this time, there's onion and there's tomatoes. And they are both cheap. At least, let me not use the word, they are both reasonable. So what I'm saying is that some planning has gone into it. Did you understand? The reason why the effect of the dry spell is minimal is because from April last year, we were able to invest heavily in inputs to our farmers in both the northern sector and the southern sector. So the southern sector produced a lot. That is why you are seeing what you are seeing on the market. And if we continue on this trajectory, we will be able to keep the prices of food at reasonable levels. Farmers will be happy with the prices that they are getting, and consumers will be happy with the prices they are paying. And that is very, very important. And it's a factor of planning. It didn't just happen. And I mentioned that this is the first time after distributing over 100,000 metric tons of fertilizer last year, not a single bag, and I can attest, was smuggled out of this country in the way that inputs went to farmers this year. Not a single bag was smuggled out of this country. It is a factor of the systems that we have changed. It is a factor of planning, and that is why you are seeing what you are seeing on the market. When are we going to lift the ban on export of grains? We are still monitoring the situation. We have brought in quite significant quantities of cereal, maize, grains into the country. We are also supporting the production of such. We have to be sure that we have gotten to a point where you and I are okay with the food systems before we open the floodgates for these things, for our grains to go out. I've heard and I've received petitions from mostly aggregators that we should allow them to export our cereals out. And I'm happy to support their business, but this is it. You are, in a way, subsidizing inputs for farmers. You and I, we are subsidizing inputs for farmers. Okay? And then when we harvest the grains, somebody will aggregate the grains and export it out for their profit. And they don't give me money. to give back to the farmers to grow more grains. Government must now find another money to give to the farmers, subsidize their inputs, and then somebody will take the harvest and export. And then we watch slowly as the prices of our food, our grains go up. So it's a decision that we have to make. But for now, I need to make sure that we have enough food in the system. We have enough buffers in our warehouses to cruise the country's food system. Then we can open the gates to sell our buffers. And I'm very, very happy that we're able to sell our buffers to allow for some exchange into the country. Not when I need grains to support the system. Then I say that let's open the floodgates for our investments to be shifted. I don't think that that is fair to even those who are asking that we open the floodgates for them to aggregate our food and take it. So what we import, or we support farmers to produce, and then somebody should aggregate and export. But I don't think that that is fair to all of us. That's the situation. So we continue to monitor, and when the situation improves and we are sure that we're able to feed ourselves, we will support aggregators to export in an organized manner. Cash transfer modalities. We are working with LEAP. LEAP already has a system of sending money to the very poor. We don't have to reinvent the wheels. Some of the LEAP beneficiaries are also farmers. And therefore, we are going to ride on that system to make sure that the most vulnerable get the money that we have. So yes, that we're going to use those systems. So LEAP has a system. They just have to knock it against our system to make sure that the vulnerable farmer is beneficiary is also a farmer with their farm mapped. Then they can have access to the money. That is just how it's going to be. Anytime, any day, any media house can come to the Ministry of Agriculture, can go to any regional office, can go to any district office across the country, and you should be able. Another one was the seasonality and the thing. I think I've answered that in extenso. We should be well, we should be fine through to next year, June, and I'm sure that we will update the country on our food systems as we go. But so far, so very good. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, if there are any follow-up questions, we will take a final round. But if you have no questions, I will invite the Honorable Minister back for his concluding remarks. Any questions? Honorable Minister, I believe that's all for today. So if you have any final words, please.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, Directors of Information Ministry, and Agric, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want to, through you, thank the nation for the support thus far on this. Like I said, I had challenges on how the country was going to react to the dry spell, how the media was going to report the situation, but it's been very well, fairly covered. A lot of analysis have been done by various organizations across agri sector organizations, development partners. A lot of reports have been written confirming what we first announced. But the country has been able to handle the situation so well. Farming activity is starting earnestly in the transition zone and in the north because the rains have started. In the south, we've all experienced some rains in the last week. It should continue. We've had a shift of the planting season in the southern sector for about a month. So we expect the rains to has started to go through all the way into early October, which should support the full cycle of plant life. We're happy with the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2. We're happy with the food systems trajectory. If we continue on this path and scale it up, we should be, as we mentioned at the launch of the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2, be food secured and resilient in 5 years. By 2028, Ghana will no longer suffer a seasonal prices on a lot of the products. We should be able to have a firm grip on our food systems. I thank you, Ghanaians, for seeing us through this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, and your team. Our government spokesperson on governance and security is here. He's been nodding throughout, so I believe he's an ambassador already. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, and to our audience at home who watched us on GTV, Channel 1 TV, UTV, Wuntumi TV, Peace FM, Movement TV, Netu TV, ABC News GH, Asasi Radio, Oman FM, Sagani TV, and NTV. I would like to use this opportunity to thank you for the coverage. Those who could not join us live, I am informed that Joy News would like to replay this press briefing at 5 p.m. this evening, so you get the opportunity to also follow the conversation. As always, I would like to say thank you for always joining us for these interactive sessions. Enjoy the rest of the day. Good afternoon.